It's almost like I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this. It's like poverty punk. Like, everything's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's very melancholy.
To start the recording. I know I don't usually say that, but trying to be a little profesh. Talking to the camera.
There ain't no rest for the wicked. That's what I say.
Are you gonna do this every episode? You're just gonna start with a pun, just right out the gate. I'm here for it.
This one has to have it. I mean, song. I just am thinking of that song nonstop.
Oh my god, that's such a good
it doesn't
song.
fit. It doesn't fit with it, like the tone of it, but it's also funny because it doesn't. So
that's true. I don't know. I feel like I could do a supercut of No Rest for the Wicked, like gameplay to that song. Like I feel like I could make that work.
I feel like you could. I'm worried about copyright.
Yeah. It would be one of those things. Yeah.
Your capabilities are not being questioned here at all, sir.
Now I'm just gonna that's gonna be the promo for this clip. Is it'll just be gameplay footage, and I'll use Instagram's music integration to just play it, so I don't get a copyright strike. Check and mate, sir. Oh,
beautiful.
All right. So I mean, I guess we didn't bury the lead. We just full on dug it up. We're talking about No Rest for the Wicked today. For the people at home that don't know, what is No Rest for the Wicked, my friend?
No, so No Rest for the Wicked is a new game that came into early access. It's not fully out yet. We should just preface everything we're talking about is based off of what has been in early access, but that early access has been around since I think April 2024.
Yeah, I think so.
If I'm remembering, I was looking at their page just now for dates and stuff. But they've been keeping updates on it since 2024. So I don't know if it's maybe last year went live, but what happened recently, I think back in a month ago in January of this month, they just launched the co-op update to the game. And what the game is kind of like an action RPG, akin to a Diablo style, kind of isometric view.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also equate it to a lot of Soulslike or Hades-like gameplay where the Soulslike being very intentional. It's very back and forth. There's parry, there's dodge, there's stamina, there's endurance, and poise. But then the Hades style of you're dashing around, you're aggroing people, you're clearing kind of zones in a way before you can start looting stuff and leveling up. But it's from the team that did Ori and the Blind Forest, and
so pretty, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big compliment, or I guess statement about their pedigree of how beautiful their games look, because this game looks gorgeous, and you'll know it the minute you start playing it. But I don't know. Did I miss anything? Is there anything I excluded or that you think should be described with it?
There's the co-op component, which I feel like we're going to talk a bunch about. But I mean, as far as the description, I think you're spot on. I mean, the only thing I would add to it is the sort of narrative feel. I don't know. Ori and the Blind Forest had that sort of dark but light vibe, right? It's got this kind of grim, dark, almost aesthetic, but it's very pretty and beautiful. And it's almost No Rest seems to capture that same exact kind of essence, where it's it's a Souls-like in that regard, that it's it's this really dark kind of festering world. But there's these really bright moments that you as the character seem to sort of execute on, and I don't know, man. It's a very specific aesthetic, which I dig a ton.
It is, and I do want to hit at something, because this came up in a conversation with some friends, but it's also something that I criticize about at least specifically I criticize of the Souls-like genre, is that a lot of them feel grimy and grim and just uniformly dark, and it kind of can kill or mute a lot of things, and I feel like it may come off that that's the only tone this game hits, but it is at all not. It definitely leans in that direction in terms of the story and the tone, but so many, we just recently, and we'll get into it, but playing yourself, myself, and Marco, we just got to a field where there's sunflowers and foresty fantasy, and it's way more akin to I feel like I'm walking into Rivendell and that kind of the elvish forest lands. So it does have a nice color palette. It's just on the onset, I think it kind of will deter you if you think the other. But In terms of what you're hitting on, I'm also thinking very much like it hits that like dark fantasy, but I in a lot of ways it reminds me of Dishonored,
Hmm.
Arcane Studios, where
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
kind of like shantytown, kind of futuristic, but kind of like not steampunk, but like this kind of like industrial but seaside kind of vibe to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't play a ton of Dishonored, but I understand the vibe. I'm looking up screenshots right now.
Oh my
Uh,
god, yes, Dishonored is a great game.
yeah. Oh man, what is that aesthetic? Like it's almost like I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this. It's like poverty punk. Like everything's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's very melancholy.
Yeah.
There's a griminess to it, but yeah, I don't know. Like
I
it,
can't
I
believe I
think
said that. I'm sorry. just oh God. Okay. But seriously, like yeah, it's got a griminess. There's a certain malaise to it that feels very like oppressive, but it's not like grimdark,
yeah.
right? Like that's kind of the okay. Yeah. No, I get that. It does have that vibe. I will say that because like there's a lot of like sort of rundown essences of the world. Like there's like that collapsed tower. There's the old sort of like seaside fort and stuff like that. That doesn't have grimdark as much as like abandoned world vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. That's
So I know it's been in early access. I will say for my own time with it, I've put most of my hours into it very recently. I've barely touched it along
yeah.
the way. What was the early parts of this like for you? Like, what has been the experience thus far for you as you've seen it change?
It so like the original early access of this game didn't have like they expanded pretty exponentially, but I would say its first early access when it didn't even have the Crucible, you kind of got to the end of the content pretty quickly, and it like it didn't feel grindy per se, but there was certain like quality of life things that were just like not there that I feel like
Okay.
they addressed in like consecutive recent updates, as they do with early access. But it's been pretty fascinating following the journey of it because like the next update that's coming after co-op is supposed to completely like break how the characters work. Like you're going to have character classes instead, and so that gets rid of a game loop that you've been following if you've been playing since the beginning the entire time. And it's like it's interesting that they're making these kind of like really pivotal decisions that are like fundamentally changing how the player base is going to be playing the game. I think for the better, but it's fascinating to watch it in an early access title like this. And like I don't know, were you early into the Hades early access as well? And like, did you see them change in that? Because I feel like it's probably the same energy. Because Hades was very, very high touch with their changes in their like Hades one, right?
Original Hades. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
I
Hades,
played a little bit of it of Hades when it came out on early access. I didn't do too much, but what I noticed more was because they gated that to just be up to the first like level of hell
yeah,
that you could engage with, but everything they changed within that kept revamping, and a lot of it was the moment to moment, like how combat feels,
yeah.
how rewards and incentives and economies work.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I saw refinement, but again, with early access, I'm always of the mind like I think it's very valuable for the devs to get the feedback to tweak it to that sweet spot.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I my engagement with it is I like to see it, I like to try it, dabble like on the at the very beginning, and then I like to step away if I really like it or if it shows promise and keep tabs. And
Mm,
then
hmm.
I watch it from afar, but then I'm like, I know my entry point's going to be either near the end of it or at launch, and then I jump back and I'm like, oh my god, I'm ready to feast. And the co-op update that came out was what I was waiting for the most. And
Yes.
then
Yeah.
when we we've been playing Nightreign a little bit here and there, this was like a perfect like, hey, this is co-op now. Do you want to give it a shot? And
Hmm.
I think like whatever you think of this game as a solo experience, I think it has the ability to stand on its own 2 feet. But I think it is soaring with the co-op aspects of it. I think that's what makes it shine, and that's what makes it like every aspect of the game that is good becomes great when you're in
Yes.
that space.
Well, and that was that, like, going back to like the beginning of the early access, that was the first thing everyone was saying, is just like, this game would be amazing if I could play it with friends. And I was of the same mindset. I was almost like, I'm not motivated to kind of keep going in there until I can actually get a co-op, which, like, again, I dumped quite a few hours into the pre-co-op early access, but
Yeah.
it, like you said, it really set fire when I was able to get you and Mariko in that game, because then it was like, I don't know, man, like it hit that very special permutation of like just enough stuff for us to do together, just enough stuff for us to do solo, and all of us just like vibing in the same space.
That's something about the way it wasn't just that they add co-op, because you can say add co-op to a game and be like, what does that mean? Right?
Yeah.
It's how they added it and what they added. And I think when they were launching or getting ready to launch the multiplayer update, they did a vignette about like what they're intending to do behind it.
I mean,
and it was so good to hear and see, because it was like, well, we got games like WoW that are just permanent, like they exist online, and then you're a player in a server. There's Diablo type games where it's like, hey, you have your character, you're going to join with your friends in a session, or whoever's in that instance is maybe a shared space.
Yeah.
And then there's more like, hey, this is our server or our campaign, but those can be too restrictive. So they like know that and then made this. And I think this is informed, like you can very easily see how informed it is by all those elements.
I would almost argue that it, like, calling it a vignette is underselling it. They did like a mini doc. When they were explaining, it was like 20 minutes of just like,
true. Fair.
This is multiplayer, and I was like, this is crazy. This is like coming with receipts, right? They're like, this is how we want to approach multiplayer. Like, we've looked everywhere, we've seen everything. This is how we think it should be done. And I was like, that's super well thought out. That was amazing to see, and
that's also, I just want to add real quick, and I'm sorry for hogging the mic.
No, man, you go.
But the thing I always see, and this is kind of a commentary on games, is you always hear like, oh, this is just another Souls-like, or this is taking Hades elements, or this is just that. I feel like this is very much saying we're inspired by like 8 of our favorite games in these genres, are the games that have like really paved the way and done new things. And we're that using that inspiration to not just like recreate, but then elevate into a new way, into a new thing, that this can now be the model in a new direction of like, hey, there's an evolution in this space. And that to me is the right way of like, I want to see more of that. I just want, like, that's my blanket statement of like, I want to see more devs do things like that, where they're like, we're taking what we love and we're doing our version of it, but with things that make sense here, or in new ways, or in fun, interesting combinations of things.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. The thing that kind of gets me about these developers, though, is they went from a like world-class platform experience, and they were like, yeah, we're just going to go into the isometric action RPG space.
Right.
And they, like, wait, what? You're just coming over here? And they like killed it. Like, No Rest for the Wicked has such good crunchy combat that like I find it's so hard to play other games that don't do the combat that well.
That's where I think they hone in on the early access, because I know like initially there was weight around like the animations I've sent you, like some of the Instagram stuff of like specific developers, but like the fluidity of the movement is great, but then feeling the hit detection is like things that they can be like, oh, let's dial that in, or this doesn't feel right. We're seeing players not even use this. Let's give them a reason to use it. Let's make that cooler. Yeah. And man, so we can get into this maybe later when it gets at 1.0 or something, but like, I very much love right now the way that it just lets me be like, I respect like 8 times, maybe 10, because I'm like, I like this. I like Sword and Shield. I like Great Sword. I like daggers. I like going Wolverine. I am now becoming like a fisticuffs, like just boxer. And like, and now I'm kind of playing around with mage a little bit. I'm like, all of these feel fantastic, and I just want to keep experimenting. So that's the compliment it's present. But whatever it does in the future is going to be interesting.
Let me just make this clear to the audience. Kujo, when he plays the game, your character, Your outfit is a chef's outfit, and you throw hands so hard that it's like, do you want me to serve you these fists? And you just like, you even have the chef's hat, which I'm like, we can even talk about the drip in this game.
Oh my god, the outfits alone, the cosmetic is so fun. It's like you can wear a bird head, you can wear a hat with a bird cage on it.
Yeah,
you can wear a chef's hat. You can look like a tree stump.
Yeah,
whatever you want. Like.
I mean, Marco's like a blue glowing mushroom right now, and it's just like, yeah.
Oh my god, I love that.
It's so good.
And like we have a chest, so there's the kind of I'll get into that. We'll get into this too, but we have a community chest that's like, this is where we keep all our fancy hats.
Yeah.
But
it's our costume chest.
Yeah. So I'm rocking. I've kind of settled into. Well, I kind of want to go into builds or like play styles that we're enjoying.
Yeah.
I wanted to start with a heavier kind of play style, but I think early game that wasn't very fun.
Yeah.
Just because when you're playing in group settings, the chaos is a little bit more, so you can kind of get yourself lost in it, and that plus acclimating to the play of the game is a little weird. So I wasn't vibing with that, and then I tried out, I think, like a single hand sword, and it was fun here and there. Like I was using a scimitar. It's not even just each weapon class has a unique playstyle.
Yeah.
Each weapon type. So if you have a two-handed scimitar and a two-handed longsword or a claymore, they will have different animations for the sword swings and attacks and movements.
It even goes further than that, though. It's the individual weapons. So like I have all 4 rapiers in the game, and
you're right.
They all perform differently. So it's crazy, because like I want to open up that Instagram that you sent me with like the animator for this, because this person went wild. They didn't just do it like, here is this animation for Axe. They have different animations for X1, X2, X3, X4. Like it's nuts, and I don't know. Some of the animation is also like gorgeous, and it's making me pick what weapons I want to use.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then after a little bit of that, I kept seeing how you and Mariko were moving around. I was like, man, they're just speed demons out here compared to me. Because my roll was like 8 frames, like
so
8 separate frames. And I'm like, man, I wasn't even of a tankiness with my outfit. So I was like, I want to be agile. And then when I moved to agile, I was like, wait, what if I just throw hands? And it's not just like you take weapons off. There are gauntlets you can put on to lean into throwing hands. Yeah. And it is so satisfying to be the damage dealer while you guys can like aggro and like pick and pipe and like pepper them with hits. But what's your build like?
So I'd originally started when I was playing the early access by myself. I was going to try to be like, all right, I'm not going to do the build I do every single game.
Archer?
Yeah, like speedy ass archer. Like I'm not doing it. And in the early access build, they had one-handed bow, so you'd have a bow in one hand and a dagger in the other. Which was like, it was an interesting play style, but it didn't feel like you were a bow main. It felt like you were a dagger main with a ranger option. And so like when they dropped the co-op update, they were like 2-handed bows. I was like, fantastic. That is what I'm gonna roll with. But like my first build was originally just sword and board. And I was like, okay, standard roll, standard block. I'm like, all right, this feels good. And then like I got a random drop for some daggers, and this is like that Dave Chappelle sketch where he's like, oh, don't give me that.
The itch.
The itch. I'm like, don't give me a dex weapon. I don't need a dex weapon. So I put them on and I never looked back. It was just like full on. Like as soon as I put them in my hands, I was like, well, I guess this is my life for the rest of the day. And all through like the early access before co-op drop, it was dual swords, offhand bow. And that was it. Just full dex the whole game. And then you guys came on and I was like, okay, I'm going to try to be better. No dual daggers. I ended up with the rapier, and then I just started making a meme build, which was like, let me just go ahead and make Verso.
That's awesome. I love that.
So rapier shooting build. So it's like, let's carve a path, and then just like roll through. So that's been my build. I was tinkering with a heavy build. Actually, I was tinkering with a heavy build yesterday, where I like respect one of my characters, gave him the Corpse Slayer, that first like legendary weapon that you get.
Oh, yeah.
Man, dude, it sucks. Like, I don't know if I haven't leveled the weapon up high enough, but Like heavy does not feel great. And
Well,
like that isn't even just feedback from me. Like Reddit has said that. They're like heavy is a very specific play style that you have to like really invest the time to learn to play as.
okay.
Yeah.
I also wonder if this, because for me it's very hard to write off certain builds just because I'm like, is it the weapon type or is it
Yeah.
the heaviness of itself? Because you were saying like a claymore could be also a heavy two-hander and that could feel amazing, whereas a hammer might not, or vice versa.
I did try a myriad of like two-handed weapons. The claymore actually is probably the superior two-handed sword, and that is, that I verified that on Reddit as well. Like I was reading through posts. The thing is,
Okay.
the issue most players have with the heavy build is that there seems to be some sort of coding issue with the stance breaking. So like you can be wearing like the heaviest plate armor, have all your stats spec to strength, and you'll get stance broken by like the lightest monster in the game, which makes it doesn't feel correct. Like there's a dissonance there. It isn't even like, oh, this is bad mechanics. It feels like something might be glitched there. And so it's made it a little bit less viable. So people that run heavy, what they'll do is they'll run the heavy glass cannon build. So they'll run strength, but then in their offhand, they'll run a light strength weapon so they can get in quickly, deliver a really big hit, and then get out really fast.
Interesting. Okay. I got to tinker with heavy later because I saw a build online, and this might have been pre-co-op update, but it was like just have a giant Roman shield.
Oh, yeah.
And just tank hits and then just whomp them with a focused attack.
I mean,
and like the elements, the layers of the combat too, I love, of like the types of weapons each play differently, even in a class. But then we just started getting into the whole, like there's builds, but then on top of that, there's the rune enhancements on different weapon types that you can be like, what those are essentially like you have a universal bar that can apply to whether it's magic based or arrows. Instead of mana or other economies of resources, it's just focus, and every special type of attack requires focus no matter what. And and they're based on like you use your runes to use these special attacks, and you can equip up to 4 for your weapon. And you can take them off other things, be like, ooh, I like what that weapon had, I'm going to take that flame attack and put it onto my sword or my staff or whatever. So I feel like that could also open up builds here, which I love. That I love the experimentation of all this, but
that's like that feels like, I don't want to say the end game, because you can be experimenting with that as early. Like that's kind of something I really love about the game, is that if you find a weapon that you like, you can just spend the resources to keep leveling it up, and you never have to worry about like disarming it. And that's really cool because of like how unique each weapon style is. But like it also means that if you pull like a god roll on a weapon, you never have to give up that weapon unless you want to like take it apart, right? So that's like the end game state where you see a certain thing on that weapon, you're going to want to remove it, but then it destroys the weapon. So you got to make sure you're putting it on something that you do like. And like all the mixing and matching of pieces. It's funny too, because this goes back to our Switch 2 discussion. So, you know how I did get the Switch 2. Spoiler to everyone on the call. And I've been playing Hyrule Warriors because it was a game that would not run on my Switch. And I've been playing that. They have the same mechanic where it's like if you scrap a weapon, you can pull one of its traits and give it to a stronger weapon. And then you can start stacking those things on there. And I was like, I had that moment of like, Leonardo DiCaprio like jumping up out of his chair and pointing, because as soon as I saw that in Hyrule Warriors, I was like, wait, we do that, we do that on No Rest for the Wicked. That's cool. Like, and it makes me understand like the end game strategy, right? Where it's like if you have a build, it can take you a while to build the right traits together to like make that build, but once you get there, it's like, oh my god, like this is like your god weapon. Like, what is it? What's the name of the female ninja in Hyrule Warriors?
Sheik. Are you talking about Sheik, or are you talking about someone else?
No, it's the bodyguard in the past. I think it's like Hippa or something like that. Okay, either way, that female ninja, I got a weapon that rolled where it got plus 5% special attack, plus 10% special attack, plus 15% special attack, all stacked on top of one another.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
I am never getting rid of that weapon. Is it, which one?
Impa.
Impa, yes, Impa.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
she's broken. Like I'm playing Hyrule Warriors. I'm able to stack special moves over and over and over again. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm never getting rid of this weapon, even though it's going to be under leveled pretty quickly. I'm like, I can't get rid of this roll. This is like amazing. And I feel like that's going to be the same thing with No Rest, right? Like I haven't even started tinkering with the weapon skills, right? Like I have a set of daggers I really like. I have a rapier that I really like, but I haven't gone around trying to like poach things off of other parts. I feel like that's going to open up a whole other like realm of gameplay.
Yeah, there's so many parts of this. Like that is an element of it, of like really fine tuning my equipments on me and the stats that you can, because there's default equipment that you just pick up
Yeah.
that have innate that are just standard vanilla.
Yep.
You can equip runes onto them, or in place of that, you can enchant them. And enchantments give you buffs, but there's a risk of you cursing them, which is you'll get the enchantments, but now you have one thing on there that's a detriment to you. And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's like, hey, pick your poison of what. Sometimes it's a bad thing, and like hey, this armor's just going to constantly drain your health. And other times it's hey, you might take a little like 5% more poison damage, but you could wear something that counteracts that. And then the other element of like the end, like quote unquote end game, because I don't think they've one of the docs that they put out was like we haven't even addressed what we want you to do once game is over, whenever that is of 1.0.
Yeah.
And we just want you to exist in this game like a Diablo or like another type of game that they're aiming for. But is it the Crucible?
The Crucible, yeah.
Which is that is the Hades space that I was like, this is a roguelike that you just put in this game where you don't lose anything. You get you actually get a little bit of XP, so you can just farm that to like gain levels, and you get a bunch of loot off of it, and it's like randomized modifiers that you do on your run. But if you die, you die. Like you just exit the Crucible, start on your run. But that is so fun to just tinker around with play styles and builds. Like I love just like, oh, we're waiting on the story to progress together. I'm gonna do a bunch of Crucible runs and get a bunch of like loot and sell it or find good shit or something.
Yeah, and I would actually love once we finish the storyline to just as a squad try to finish a Crucible run and actually take a Crucible night out.
I've almost got, like, I think Mariko and I tried once and we were so close to doing it, but so many times those runs, it's like you go up to against one enemy and you just randomly like, oh, I fell off the edge, or the enemy just poisoned me to death and I just died.
I feel like the Crucible was the developers being like, okay, here is a playground. Go. And I think that gave them so much data because, like, to your point, like, for people that love Hades and, like, roguelike runs, like, that is, like, top tier. Like, you just jump in there and you can, like, respec, rebuild, do whatever you want, farm for equipment, find equipment to break down and put into your perfect build. It's great. I wonder how they're going to do that at the 1.0 release. Like if they're going to introduce it as early as they did here. Because the thing is, we're only in like I want to say like 1/5 or 1/8 of the world.
Which blows my mind.
Yeah. Like that means that we're in world 1/1 of the game. And like that was like a lot of content. Like these dungeons are long, dude. And so it's
in a good way. Like there's like the two things we didn't hit on about, and I feel like this is a great time to bring up, is one, there's a platforming element that we haven't even been talking about that is so well designed in these games, right? Like,
yeah, it is. It's just like, because we made the point earlier that they made Ori and the Blind Forest, which is like a fantastic platforming game. So of course they had to add like fantastic platforming, but there's the ledges, man.
The ledges are rough. The ledges are rough, I'll say. They can sneak up on you, they can trick you, or you could just miss something altogether. But I feel like the spaces aren't always the most like sprawling or large when you're in a given dungeon. But I think there's such good level design in the verticality of things, or in the way things path, that you're always like, oh, we haven't discovered this. Oh, that leads to this, and we should figure that out. Or I have to be a little bit extra on my toes about like how I jump across these platforms. Yeah, it's not in the same platforming as Ori, but you can tell that pedigree paid off here.
Yeah, 100%. And you strike on something with the level design. So like, there's a moment in the early game where you walk under this like old broken bridge, and like you think like, oh, that's just a cool set piece, and then you find out later on that you can actually walk on that bridge.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? And then you realize everything you see in the world you can reach, which I think is like a really cool realization, because they do that trick with you a bunch in the game, right? Where it's like, oh, here's this cool little clearing, and then by the way, here's this epic set piece that you can be looking at, but also you're going to go down there and fight in it, and it's like, it's so cool.
I always feel that way about, like, I feel like it's more tangible or expected with larger, I don't want to say larger productions, but like those AAA, like a Death Stranding or a Horizon or something of that, like, or a Red Dead Redemption. You're like, oh, that vista that you see, that's where you're going to be able to go later in the game or as you progress. To see it in a game like this, done so well and so believably, of like, it not only looks beautiful to look at on that horizon, but you're about to go there in like an hour or two.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that I think should tell people like there is a quality of work and effort being put in here by the studio, the Moon Studios team, that I'm like, I just every time we're in one of those or we're in a cutscene, I'm just like, what is this studio? This is awesome. Like, applause to them. They're amazing. The story, the cinematics, I'm like, I will say, there's two levels to this. I'm not like sitting there being like the way we did with Expedition, where like, oh, Gustav or Versa or Mile. I don't have a character association to anyone yet that I'm really invested in. But I feel like because of the player agency, I'm a part of this world, and seeing the kingdoms and the larger scope plot take shape in place. I feel invested in that for now. I'm wondering if we're going to get more character-driven stuff. Do you have any thoughts on the story?
I don't think we are. And I don't think that's a slight on them. I think they really want the agency to be the character, right? Because like they talk about the Serim, which is like the sort of like, I don't know if it's like a species or a type of person, but in the world, the Serim are kind of either revolted or revered, depending on who you're talking to, and that's who your player is. And so they're constantly like, oh, a Serim in this town, but then like another person walking by be like, oh, thank the gods of Seren, right? And you're just like, huh, what am I?
Like, I feel like it's very akin to like Elden Ring's Tarnished.
Yeah, exactly. It very much feels like that. I kind of love that though, in that I think they've put so much immersion into the game, right? Like I remember when I was just walking around town figuring out where stuff was, like you would hear people talking under their breath about you. And it's just like, oh, that's interesting. And then when you interact with them, they all have a profile picture, which like, again, that's like not necessarily a detail they needed to have, but then it also makes you kind of on your toes. Like, wait, does this mean that this character is going to be like a set piece character that I'm going to have to interact with later? Who knows? They literally give everyone a portrait picture. So it's kind of tricky to understand. But I think, to the original point, I think you're not going to sit there and get attached to characters. You're going to attach to your character, and you're going to attach to the things that happen to your character. And I think that's what they want. Because, like, okay, not a spoiler, but there is that sequence in that cave where they're like, oh, yeah, Serim, you go deal with that problem. And it's like, wait, what? And then you go in there and you're like, what? Like, why are you wait, hold on. And then you're in a boss fight. Right. And it's just like, I'm invested in the fact that they just like threw me under the bridge to just like go handle it. Like these other characters are just like, oh yeah, you got this, right? And I'm like, no, dude, like I thought I was just looking for treasure. What the hell? So I think that feels closer to what they're probably, trying to inspire of us, is just like,
I feel like you're right.
Care about your character. Whereas like Expedition 33, like that is like, I'm gonna break your heart over and over again, so you better care about these characters, because you don't have a self-insert. I think that's where the difference is. We don't have a self-insert here. And I feel like that was the same with like Diablo, right? Like you didn't so much as care for any of the characters. You cared about how you were gonna go show up and beat up one of Diablo's siblings. Right? Like that was all you cared about. Like, yeah, maybe you remembered a quest here or there. But for me,
it's never. I know. Yeah, I'm with
Yeah.
you on. I was just talking about this with a friend today. Of like, it's. I don't know the moment to moment. I don't think I'm really invested, or I'm meant to be invested. I
Yeah.
just want to see the crazy cool cinematics and these. Yeah, the all of Diablo's cousins and family and sisters and brothers.
and just wreck them all. I will give my like I will take my hat off to No Rest for the Wicked's team in that the way that they do cinematics, because like very much I remember when playing Diablo, and please correct me if I'm wrong. When you play Diablo, you're in the isometric view, and then a cutscene happens, and it's basically like standard Blizzard. Here is your over the top animation. Whereas like for No Rest, those vistas you saw, they were still able to execute on that with an isometric perspective, right? And I feel like that is so cool because I feel like a lot of developers, when they do these isometric views, they're like, yeah, it's the view for the gameplay, and then this will be the view for the cinematic. But for them, they tried.
Tried. No, I feel like the game itself just looks so beautiful that when you do get these in-game cutscenes, they hold up to par. There is still a visual difference of when you get a full cinematic cutscene, and those are like on another level in a very arcane studio type of way of like the Arcane Animation Netflix show. I was like screenshotting left and right whenever those would pop up, but like I was not distracted when we had just a standard cutscene when the story beats just unfolded as you were playing, and it just kind of the camera zooms in for a moment with some dialogue. I was like, this is gorgeous. This is beautiful. The fidelity is amazing. And then it just releases you back into the immersion.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that they did everything in game engine. That gets me. Cause like with Diablo, they would do a pre-rendered sequence, and it's like, here's the cool cinematic we made. Whereas like here, it's literally just like, no, this is just them using a different camera controller, and they're still using the same character models. I've loved that since like the Nintendo days. Like I remember, and we don't have an episode on tactics, at least not for this show, but we've talked about tactics, you and I.
On a few shows, yeah.
On a few shows. My favorite thing I remember from that game was the fact that all of the cutscenes in the original game were done in engine, in animation, that very well could have been gameplay. And like that's always felt really cool to me because it always kept me in the story, as opposed to like switching off to a cutscene and I'm like, that's not what my guy looks like. My guy's like a 24 by 24 pixel box. Like this is a beautifully pre-rendered thing. And even for games that are higher fidelity like this, I feel like it helps with the immersion so much that they're just like using the engine. And it's like, this is what it is. So
absolutely. Yeah. No,
so cool.
I cannot wait to see more of what they're planning to do because it was such a big jump. And there's already seeing, I think with this update, they've reported 2 days ago as time of recording 1.5 million copies have sold. And that player base is just awesome, and it's good to see because it's like, okay, you see a vision, you see it executed well, and now they're getting the support at this stage. I think it's only going to help further that mention and that forward momentum that they have to build on and get more data to then better fine-tune things to feel better for everyone. The added thing I love about all the things, kind of going back a little bit to the multiplayer, is let's say like we've talked a little bit about this, but we haven't really shared with like viewers or listeners.
Sure.
Is we've made a character in our shared space, right?
Yeah.
We have a realm. It's a server. There's nothing you have to pay for. It's part of the game,
which is amazing.
We have that. Yeah. You can have up to 4 people on that server. I now want to go at some point. We're still in our Baldur's Gate run, but at some point want to play with like my brother and cousin.
Yeah.
And I can take that same character and not leave this server, but choose to also go play there or just go play on my own.
Yeah.
And or make a new character. Like that flexibility of being able to play with whichever. I'd be like, oh, I built this other character. Let's say they do go harder into the class build and you're like really have to lean into this is my barbarian or this is my sorcerer or whatever. I think that further is an added point of like, hey, we made it flexible to go between whatever group of friends you want to play with whatever character you want to play with. I love that. Like that framework. That's forward thinking to me in terms of design of you're not stuck. You're not like those little things that can cause friction over time become such great sells when you're like, no, we fixed that. We don't have that issue. We thought ahead. We're planning for that. It's part of our development. I'm like, I applaud them for that. I want more studios to be thinking of their games with those little pain points, because death by a thousand cuts, man. When you have so many of these little pain points like that, or like other things that just like, hey, can't skip this, or hey, you always have to redo the tutorial even though you played 5,000 hours in a game. Like, I'm using an arbitrary example. I don't think there's like a specific game that comes to mind, but like things like that, you're like, come on, man.
I mean, Elden Ring comes to mind, not Nightreign, but like FromSoft is notorious for having some of the most obscure, weird like multiplayer setups ever created. Like,
sure, but at this point it's become a brand thing that I don't even
it's like a running gag.
You're gonna take the furled finger, stick it up someone's earlobe, twinkle it 3 times while you jingle this weapon in your offhand, and then if your friend is doing it at the exact same time, then you may be able to be on the same server together. Only for this fight, though. Just
for this fight, yeah. I like jokingly, because like Nightreign is our other game. That is probably the least FromSoft thing ever in that game, is that the multiplayer is so seamless. Yeah, and it's like it only took FromSoft making an explicitly multiplayer game to get multiplayer right.
Hey, like, when you're that good and like you're like, hey, let's make a game dedicated to just multiplayer and figure this shit out.
yeah. But I mean, it's true. Like, I mean, especially like as we get older, right? Like trying to gather people to game together is already a challenge in and of itself. And so like you want the gaming part of it to be the least friction of the set. And it's like, it's the worst when we're getting in there. It's like, do you get into my realm? How do you go to this server? And then wait, does it bring stuff over? They make it so clean. I will warn you, by the way, dude, if you do play this with your brother and your cousin, don't bring your big dude to the new world, because it will set the world difficulty to him.
But can't you change the world difficulty?
No. It will set the monster's level to you. So even though you can change the world difficulty down to easy, the monsters themselves are all going to be ready to fight a level 20 like brawler guy.
All right, fair.
So,
good to know.
Yeah, no, because I was thinking about that when because like our other friend JPG wants to play this, and I was like, okay, cool. I'll just bring Haku, which is like my character I'm playing with you guys, into his world, and I was like, that's not good, because then I was looking it up. They're like, yeah, don't bring a high character, otherwise the newbies are gonna get like squashed. So like make a new character if you're going to be ushering a friend through, and then once you get to the same level as your big character, then you can bring your big character in. I was like, oh,
got it.
That makes sense.
Nice. No, that's a good tip. Thank you. Yeah. I hope that when this leaves early access, because this is like PCs where early access tends to just be allowed to live. I would love for this. I feel like this is another forward thinking thing they should make sure they have is crossplay.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like, they will reap so many rewards off of just being able to be like, hey, I got it on my Switch. Hey, I got it on my I don't know if it's going to be part of Game Pass. Hey, it's on PlayStation. Yeah. We're all playing the same space. This could become something huge if they allow that. I feel like once they 100%. Start siloing things, is when they can it's not that it'll hurt them. It just, they'll cut off potential is my It's
do you remember if Ori and the Blind Forest, that was a multi-platform game, correct? Like, it didn't have multiplayer, but I'm saying like they released on like everything.
Yeah, right?
Okay. All right. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but I think like this is like I say this partially because one of with Mariko, she plays portably. She plays on Steam Deck, and I'm like, this would be great on the Switch. And then being like, hey, I'm going to dock it. Let's play, on the TV and take it on the go. Like, this is the type of game that I think would be great in the Switch environment. And I'm like, then I'm thinking of other platforms too.
Well, could you imagine if you could do split screen local on Switch?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You want to talk system sellers, brother?
Yeah. That'd be wild. I dig that.
I
don't understand. I don't know if a Joy-Con setup would work. I would not want to do that. But like, I know when third party developers bring games to the Switch. Yeah. They always have to. The thing I realize is almost way more than they have to think about the fidelity of a game and how optimized it is. They have to think more about all the input options that are unique to the Switch. Like,
that's true.
Are you taking advantage of motion controls? Are you taking advantage of Joy-Con setups? Can you play the game in those setups? Yes or no? And be able to, like, because the Switch is all about like all those things as much as it was about like everything else. I learned that talking to Cyberpunk team. when they
Oh
were doing
yeah.
Switch 2 launch, and they were like, you know, we've been optimizing over the years just in general, which we're excited for, but we're way more excited to see how like some of these motion controls work or
On the
Joy-Con
Switch.
setups
Yeah.
work. And I was like, I didn't even think of that. That's a good point.
I mean, wait. So are they? Is it potential like if you're playing in Cyberpunk to get like the arm claws, like you can wave your Joy Cons around and that'll be a slashing mode? Oh my god!
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
they were like, we built some of that into the game. Now, not every game is going to use those features,
yeah, but
but
that's great.
they were like, that's what we're excited to tinker with because we do want to build for this platform. And why not, like, if we're on it, why not use the unique features here to make our jobs more exciting or interesting? Of like, we're not just porting something and doing tedium kind of work to some degree.
Yeah.
They're like, we want to challenge ourselves in unique ways. And it's like, hey, yeah, do that. Like, try it. And I'm wondering, yeah, that's another pipeline, but that's like, something when I think of the Switch.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be really fascinated to see what the console release for this. So this was on my top 5, right? So it's supposed
Yeah.
to be releasing in 2026. They have
Oh.
at least 2 major updates that are supposed to hit before release. So I'm curious, like, how they're going to do that, or if they're going to push the date. Because, like, the classes update's supposed to happen relatively soon. Like, that's supposed to be the next one. I think they're probably going to slate that for spring, but I have no sources for that, so that's just me kind of wishing in the dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like, I don't know what the next release after that is, because, like, that I think that finishes off their sort of like optimization of the gameplay, and so I'm wondering if they're just gonna like let it grind for a little bit to see what errors, what bugs, what things they can like optimize from that, and then go directly to the release.
So
yeah,
there's 2 things I want to hit on. One on this point, and one just briefly. I know we're getting close to time, but
sure.
the thing I think on this note is, if they're planning, if the plan is off of what they've been saying to do something spring, then I think a mid to late summer release launch would with at a showcase like Summer Games Fest or sometime in the summer, announcements of like shows would be a great time to like jump ahead, get people on this type of game, and stay clear of like the GTA conversation. Not that like. I just feel like it would that like that is something every developer's been conscious of, and they're like, stay clear of the holidays.
Yeah,
just so it's either before, and I'm like, summer would be a great time. Announce this. This already has a big enough following. It would just garner more at that point of like, hey, this is the team behind that, and it's come out and it's out. Go have fun with yourself or friends.
Yeah.
The second thing we didn't even talk about, and I don't know how much you want to dive into it, is the real estate economy in this game, like being able to decorate that, like the house building, the multiple apartments we have across town, like customizing them, you know, really getting into that and what we want for it going forward. We like loosely talked about like, oh, what if you had your own plot of land, that kind of thing. But what are your thoughts on the whole like house decor, home setup kind of stuff?
I genuinely love it. Like, it kind of reminds me of like having your own place in like MMOs, right?
Yeah.
Like, I had like a little farm in Hobbiton on Lord of the Rings Online, and I dug it, right? Like I decorated it and did stuff like that. And like the thing is, I feel like the way I and Mariko are playing right now, we're playing very much like, okay, here is our dormitory, here's where stuff goes. But I could see at the full release if they had like more real estate everywhere, right? Like you saw that farmhouse that we found in the southern fields.
Yeah.
Like, that I would totally just buy that to decorate that and just be like, yeah, this is my spot. Like for no other reason than I get to do that, right? Or it's like I would love to like be able to like buy an old ruined tower out near the coast and like check that out. So I mean, that sort of stuff I could see being kind of huge for like the sort of upkeep of the player economy. Like I also don't know if co-op is going to be limited to the 3 players that we have, right? Like what if they open it up so that you can have like a 9-person server, and then you can just have spaces in other like all over the place. Like,
oh, I see.
Right? Like that would be super interesting. I
don't know how much. I feel like the number
9
of
might
players.
Be a lot.
No, I know, but I just arbitrary number more than 4.
Yeah.
I feel like that has to take some very specific data points from what I've learned from developers. Like that can really affect economy. That can really affect boss like difficulty, pathing, that kind of stuff. And also like gameplay, like, you know, fidelity. So I think something like that could be a cool thing if I were to think in terms of marketing of like an after launch, like, hey, we have more stuff coming.
Yeah.
Hey, cool new feature, or this mode might be a specific thing that allows up to, you know, more than 4 people, or I don't know, some stuff like raids.
Yeah, well, okay, so that's kind of the cool thing, and I always love this because it's almost like built into the mechanics. The world where this game happens is an island, which means technically we should be able to go to other islands. so like knowing that we're not like locked to a continent and we have to wait until another world opens up. Like literally, they can be like, yeah, here's a DLC of just a random new island with like 5 new bosses and a whole new storyline. Like I really have high hopes that they're going to be able to scale to that. I need to see what like the full size of this island looks like, because like right now we only have like, you know, a quarter or a fifth or an eighth of it right now. So
yeah, that I'm wondering one of two things. That's either a post game launch, or because you were saying this is World 1.1, what if 1.0 is like, hey, get off this island now.
Just kidding. This was the trainee island. You're like, what?
Yeah, title sequence starts.
Yeah. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, level cap. Like, you finish the mission, and it's like level cap raised. You're like, level cap raised? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I am so I looked at it. I was supposed to juggle a few other games this last January, and I was like 30 hours into no rest for the Witcher.
I'm sorry, man.
No, there's nothing to apologize for. I'm here thanking you. But it's so fun. Like the dailies and weeklies, and like just all the ways it allows co-op. Like you're incentivized to play together, but you're not punished for playing together. Like I don't have to sit there and be like, I can only enjoy this with you guys. I can do more of the I like when we were waiting to play again, I was like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna go farm lumber and work on all these resources. And it's added incentive for all of us, because now we can afford X, Y, and Z, or you can do the same, or Mario could, and like we're investing in that space asynchronously or simultaneously. It's like that hits a sweet spot that very few games I think have been able to nail. And they're hitting it in early access. I'm like, you guys rock. Like, this is cool. I'm digging this.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how like all of these sort of positive experiences we have scale with this game as it gets to 1.0, because it is, I don't know, man. Like, this is when I've like tried to develop games, this is kind of the experience I wanted, where it's like a multiplayer game that me and my friends could play, that they could go do their own thing, but like when we play together, it's definitely more epic. But like it's just a damn good game, like out from the jump, and that's what this feels like. So, you know, well done, Moon Studios. This is an amazing game. Yeah. So we're at time. We're actually 5 minutes over, which is kind of weird for us, but
this is unspeakable for us. I will never let this happen again.
I'm sorry. It's because we have the computers in front of us. I added this, and now we have more to talk about. But I mean,
what they don't know is we're playing it while we're talking.
That's why we weren't so focused. It's just like, yeah, I know. I was just farming iron. Yeah, man. But thank you for talking through this. I know this was a topic that was like really high on both of our minds, but as usual, buddy, where can people find you? I remember to do that.
You can find me at Kujoprime, Kujo Prime, everywhere. Socials, my YouTube channels where I have all my stuff. Yeah, you can just find me there. I do I have a lot of upcoming interviews. I have some that just came out, so be sure to check those out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, some of your interviews are nuts. I was just like, how did you get that person? Everyone, please go watch them. They're fantastic. I am not the best person he's interviewed, absolutely by a long shot. There are real celebrities that he's been talking to. So,
well, no,
give him a view.
I still love our Save Point Stories episode on my podcast, but that to me is like a key example. You're like that season. And ours specifically is one of the ones where I was like, hey, this is the ancillary conversations I want to be having around game development. The interviews that I'm getting a chance to do now are more so, let's hear it straight from those people that are working in these spaces, and give the others half of it that we don't hear. Like, I like to be a nerd on the outside and also like take a peek inside and get to talk that. So it's a pleasure to be on both sides of it. I'm like, this is the best of both worlds, but yeah.
Well, appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you.
Until the next one, we'll see you guys later. I got to work on a sign off. All right, bye, guys.
Yeah. Ain't no rest for the wicked.
And then we're copyright struck. Damn it.
It's fine. It's the end of the episode.